Infinity Strash Dragon Quest The Adventurer Die just released, and today I've completed the game over on the PlayStation, so I wanted to take a quick look at the Switch build and how it compares. My name's Alex, so this is SwitchCorner, and if you do enjoy the video today, subscribe, it helps out the channel a huge amount. So here's an unusual one. I find when it comes to scores I can be a little more aggressive than most, averaging I'd say lower than many publications and channels, but it seems I'm one of the few that truly enjoyed this experience. Now you can see my full written review over on xpcorner.net, which I will be linking down below. That is our new website, so we truly appreciate the support. Now with this game I've seen an average score of around 60 on OpenCritic, and then a score as low as 4 out of 10. Here is me with a great 8 out of 10 for the PlayStation 5 build. So let's really just today break down what it's all about before we do get into that Switch performance. So the story follows episodes 1 through 41 of the anime of the same name, and that is we take on the role of Dai, a young hero in training who is forced into an adventure when the Dark Lord Hadler returns and threatens existence as we know it. Now we follow a likeable cast of characters and our party gradually expands to 4. The way the story is presented, I liked it. It's a combination of in-game engine, stills, and footage lifted directly from the anime. Now I haven't seen the anime myself, so I was hooked on the events that were unfolding. And for those out there that may know the narrative, this covers up to the Sovereign Rock arc. So at its heart, Infinity Strash Dragon Quest The Adventurer Die diverges from its Dragon Quest lineage. Promoted as an action RPG, to me it feels more like an arena fighter infused with RPG elements. Now I'm a fan of that genre, and this is a unique spin on the concept, bypass any multiplayer to focus on a dedicated story mode that allows the individual characters to evolve. Now we'll be starting this game with just Dai as the lead character, but the party grows, adding fan favorites such as Pop and Mam. So combat stands out as unique because we can customize our skill set and enhance moves with progression. One feature I really enjoyed was Bond of Memories. These are cards that we do collect and they can be applied to modify stats and abilities. As for the more traditional RPG aspects, the game really simplifies progression here. So I think automated leveling up and even items, it actually selects what items we will take into battle for us. I think healing or buffer options. This really just leaves you to focus on combat strategy, and I think that makes sense given at its core it is an arena brawler. Combat then in the game varies from single enemy engagements to group battles, and that's really the main gameplay packed in. Sure, there's a world map and some side missions to overcome, but 90% of the time here, this is really about entering these different locations and just battling it out. Now our core moves include a standard attack that can be used consistently, alongside then 4 special abilities. These operate on either a cooldown system, or they must be earned by building up a meter. Don't think though this is just hacking and slashing. You will need to master defensive moves such as blocking and dodging. In fact, if you get the timing just right, you can expect invincibility frames, and these are going to be essential towards the end game. My favourite part of combat was the ability though to switch between characters. It means we can leverage the character we feel is best for these different scenarios, such as think Pop for ranged or Mom to heal. While you can then switch as well, all characters are on the battlefield at once. It's not a case of them teleporting one in and one out, unless that is the story demands for it. Basically, AI will take over and help support you in these moments. Regarding missions, then we do get 3 options on the main menu. That's going to be story, battles, and side quests. Now story is just that, cutscenes with a whole lot of text. Battles will then also advance the game, but of course with quite a bit more input from yourself directly. Finally, side missions, these are going to be optional, but I would suggest them as they will level up your party. There is no exploration at all in this game though, I do want to make that extremely clear. Honestly as well, I do want to say the story, it's got a good chance of overwhelming many. It took me around 12 hours to get through the experience, and a good majority of that is simply watching the storytelling. There were frequent moments where it had been 20-30 minutes without me getting into a single battle. Now you can of course skip these moments and fast forward them, but that would kind of render the whole point of this experience a waste of time, and you'd fly through it in seconds. If that is the case, you don't want to just sit back and watch this story unfold, then I definitely wouldn't come here. If you want to break up at these moments the story, perhaps it's going to be for you, but you can't maybe sit through it consistently, then the most unique element of gameplay is the Temple of Recollection. This can be accessed at any time once you do unlock it in, I'd say, around the second chapter, maybe an hour or so of gameplay. Now this is actually a roguelike option where we battle it out for collectibles and bond memories. I really like this, as you need to overcome a level that is basically made up of multiple rooms before you do get given a choice. Do you leave with your loot, or do you stay and risk it all? Because should you fall in that next level in battle, it's all gone. This has basically been designed as a way to help players should they get stuck, because these items, these cards, even skills, they're going to carry over to the main story. The only thing that doesn't, in fact, is going to be leveling up. You can also then come here to improve the skills you do have thanks to a very basic upgrade system. Despite all of these elements I did enjoy, the game definitely has some drawbacks. Combat can feel repetitive. Of course it can, it's an arena brawler, that's very common within the genre. The pacing might feel off at times, and realistically, like I said, it is a whole lot of story. Then, for those accustomed to traditional RPGs, this is going to be far from what you would probably expect, especially for something packing the Dragon Quest name. Additionally, the absence of a multiplayer option feels like a missed opportunity. We have up to a party of 4 on the battlefield here, so maybe, yeah, I know 1v1 might not work, but why not let us jump online and work together? It seems like such an obvious inclusion for the experience. Alright, so let's talk about the Nintendo Switch performance, and I am going to start with a clip from the PlayStation build on screen right now, and then let's jump to the Switch build. The difference, it is of course noticeable, but I think Square Enix brings us some of the best ports, and I actually think they've done an admirable job here with this one as well. I've played through the first 2 chapters of the Switch build, so that's the first couple of bosses, and I would say it felt responsive throughout with a mostly stable frame rate. I say mostly because I did notice on a couple of visually demanding specials the game slightly fluctuates, and when you change rooms in the Temple of Recollection, there's a portal-like effect that basically allows you to see what's coming up in that next room, but it appears the Switch hardware definitely doesn't like this. It kind of stumbles as you do transition. These didn't impact my ability to succeed in battle, and of course I'm out there kind of hunting for these problems. I doubt a lot of the individuals playing the game out there would actually notice. The game then, being an arena brawler, has some problems as well, which are present on all systems. The camera can occasionally get stuck in the environment briefly as you rotate to face your enemies. Subtitles can't be turned off, which I think is extremely unusual, even if you're selecting, your preferred language between Japanese and English. These subtitles actually do occasionally obscure the screen maybe a little bit too much. I'm hoping to see that patched in the future. Also then, when it comes to some of the locations, they can feel a little lifeless at times when you do look to the outer edges, but that is, again, a one-for-one of what you will see on all systems. Visually as well, the game has, of course, seen a downgrade as well. The pixelation, it's more apparent. It takes away from the stunning character models that look lifted directly from the anime. I also did notice the texture detail and shadow work has been scaled back quite a bit. It doesn't look bad, though. It's clearly just a restriction of the hardware, and I don't think they've actually gone over the top in any area. I do think it is a very close reflection of what's on the other platforms. Finally, I did check out the game in handheld, and for me the resolution feels quite a bit softer, but still more than playable, and the performance, it remains consistent. The menus and the text on the screen, I'd say the sizing's okay. I had no issues myself, and I do wear glasses. The display here, nice and crisp. They've definitely put some effort into that menu design. So basically what we have here is a good port of a game that it seems is getting mixed opinions, and no one enjoyed it quite as much as me. I've always been a big anime arena fighter fan though, so I think my appreciation of this spin, it's not exactly coming as a surprise to me. I would urge you, however, read my comprehensive review over on xpcorner.net, or do wait for the video review, which will go live sometime tomorrow on the XP Corner YouTube channel. That's where I cover everything outside of Nintendo Switch. I'll be linking both of those down below, and I will say here as well, please do go and read some other outlets' reviews, or even watch some video reviews here on YouTube, because as I said, scores are all over the place. You should definitely get a few different opinions on this experience. If you did pick it up then, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and with that, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, news and lists daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.